up watching the running backs on the 40, and we went back to the hotel, and we're sitting at the bar, and this conversation ensues between a couple of my colleagues, well, I should say one specific colleague of mine, and a Super Bowl winning individual, and that is Mayo from the Patriots. I tell you, Robert, I reminisce on that experience, and it was very unique to see you as a football scout, sharing your knowledge and your thoughts on some of the players, what those players bring to the table, how they fit into a schema, and then looking at a Super Bowl champion in Mayo going right back at you. I mean, that was probably one of the best things I've ever seen, because there was just mutual respect, but there was a level of football IQ that was being shared that I hadn't seen in a long time. So go ahead, give me your thoughts on that experience, Robert.
It's funny that you bring up that experience, Roland. That was a fun night that we had at the NFL Combine. And just to piggyback off what you said, we just have to let the public know that these NFL players, or just athletes in general, they have a level of competitive on the field and off the field. So the conversation that me and Jerod Mayo was having, I was very competitive, back and forth, but we both respected each other's point of view, and just talk scheme and football. Like, you have to understand that these guys eat, breathe, and sleep football for the most part, and of course they have their family duties and their philanthropy duties as well. But just the conversation was a humbling experience. Just to have a humble conversation at the bar with the NFL great, NFL legend, Super Bowl champion, and to have Steven Belichick kind of chime in and listen on the conversation, and just be in the presence of the New England Patriots, staff. So that was an awesome experience, and one that I'll never forget, Roland.
Well, I tell you, it definitely wasn't one. It definitely is one I will never forget, because I sat there and I watched you go toe to toe. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, everyone who's listening out there, this is Robert Parker out of New Jersey, one of my scouting colleagues, and I tell you, he was shedding some knowledge, and once again, not backing down, going toe to toe. With some very high-level discussions. I see someone has chimed in, a good friend of mine, Ron Moon, out there, and his comment is, I love hearing those high-level football discussions. Well, I tell you, Ron, that night, sitting there with Super Bowl champions and having that high-level conversation was just one of the most, awesome experiences I've ever had. And then at the same time, Mayo also had kind of a fun, mild-mannered temper. He cracked a lot of jokes on you, but his jokes always came back to a point. He was trying to educate us on, when you look at the game of football, especially for the fans sitting at home watching the game, it's like playing chess, but there's a uniqueness with playing chess, right? So you can play chess, and I'll use an example with my daughter. So my daughter loves to play chess. I play chess with her, and one of the things she would get very upset about is I would always, chess is about strategy, it's about strategic maneuvers, but I would always take the lesser of two pieces and I would strategically place them, knowing that later down the line, those pieces are going to become very unique pieces to the game. And one of the things that Jerod Mayo was educating us on was there are players who might not be the highlighted player, the one that get all the kudos, the one that's always in front of the cameras, but they are strategic players on the field to actually make that offense work. And to your point, Robert, to sit there with Steven Belichick, Coach Belichick's son, now the defensive coordinator over there, one of the defensive coaches, I should say, and he even brought a level of expertise that we have never heard before. Just the way they think about the game, the way they think about the X's and O's, it's just one of those interesting things. Jeremy was also there, Jeremy Coleman from Indiana. And Jeremy, what was your experience like?
Well, it was a fantastic night when you get to talk with a former All-Pro linebacker, Super Bowl champion winner in Jerod Mayo, and then also being there with Steve Belichick. Like you guys pointed out, I mean, just the level of analysis that comes from the coaching side of it is very different, even how we see it sometimes from the scouting side, how those two sides interact. But one of the best parts of the whole night was, like you said, was watching Robert just thunder away at Robert Mayo. I mean, he was there to make a point. If it wasn't to be heard, everyone else was going to hear it. It was fantastic, though, just because, I joke about it to a degree, but like you said, there was a level of respect there, between guys who have accomplished a lot and guys like us who are trying to break in and learn and soak up all the knowledge we possibly can, and how we want to try to break in the NFL someday too, and just the level of knowledge and the level of respect. That's what truly made that whole interaction special.
It was. It was definitely special, and now that we as football scouts, I think one of the things that we can take away is that there's just a whole lot more than just watching film, looking at stats, or sitting at home just reviewing, different articles. There is so much from the player perspective, so much from the coach perspective, and to this very day, I know I'm very appreciative. So I'll give a major shout out on the extra point here with R2, CEO of R2 Sports Management. Along with my colleagues, want to give a special shout out to Coach Stephen Belichick and Jerod Mayo for entertaining us, making sure that we understood how they saw the game, what their vision is like for the game, and allowing that interaction to take place to make sure that when we walked away from the NFL Combine, that we walked away with something very valuable. So kudos to those guys. Looking forward to seeing what they continue to do. And especially since they lost somebody, I didn't want to bring that up, and I'm not going to talk about that, but, word on the street is that they don't have the same quarterback. I'm just saying, word on the streets, or they don't have Tom Brady anymore. He's somewhere down south, soaking up some sun right now. So it'd be interesting to see what that organization does. Well, I would tell you. Well, hey, there's a lot going on in the NFL, but I'll be reluctant to not bring up, and we brought this up in previous broadcasts, but I'll bring it up again, the social unrest that is going on in our nation right now, the impacts that it has on us as a nation. The only thing I would implore to all the fans out there, to everyone who's listening in, take the time and just listen. Sometimes when you can just close your mouth for a second and listen, it'll be amazing on what you can get from a conversation. And, ironically, as we were just joking about Belichick and Jerod Mayo, dedicating their time to us, there is a point in the conversation where we just shut up and we listen. So I would implore everyone else to do the same here. The tragic incident of Mr. George Floyd, while tragic, and hopefully justice will be served. The one thing I would tell everyone, take the tough challenge to have the tough conversation. And I think we will be a better community for it. I think we will be a better nation for it. And I think that we can come out on the other end being a beacon of light again, because right now we have a lot of people hurting, suffering, and as of late, it's been getting slightly worse. So for those of you who are out there listening in to us today, take the time, find someone in your local community, find a friend, have a great conversation, bring others into your conversation in hopes that you can actually learn from each other and let's do our best to, get rid of the hate. We're not going to get rid of all of it. We already know that. We've kind of been there and done that in history, but hopefully we can all learn something from it. So before I go ahead and get out of here, I once again want to highlight my colleagues. It is such an honor and a privilege to always be with these guys. We've kind of been doing this for a long time now, and I just want to tell you, if you go to our website, and that is r2.wordpress.com, and go and check these guys' bios out. Justice Gordon, who is out there in the great state of New York, is also the writer for the Philadelphia Sports Chronicle, folks. Let me say that again. My colleague who is on the show tonight is also a writer for the Philadelphia Sports Chronicles. We also got Robert Parker. Robert has a very unique background. Robert has a background in law. Like myself, Robert has attended the Lee Steinberg Academy for being an agent. There's just so much experience and wealth and knowledge with Robert that please take the opportunity to go out there and read his bio. And then Jeremy Coleman. Jeremy brings so much to the table. Jeremy not only worked at the University of Indiana, and quote me if I'm wrong here, Jeremy, but you also had a small stint with the Kansas City Chiefs. Is that correct?
Yeah, I had a few training camp internships with the Chiefs from 2011 2013.
So, once again, these guys are bringing all types of experience, and I'm beyond proud to bring my experience to the table. And as a collective team, we're hoping to do a whole lot, not just for R2 Sports Management, but providing those scouting reports to different organizations out there, head coaches, general managers, so forth and so on. So having said that, this has been a great broadcast, guys. I'm glad you were able to chime in. I'm glad some folks out there. I'm looking at some names. I want to give a quick shout out to a few people. I see Parker Gray is watching. How you doing, Parker? Parker is a sharp lieutenant now in the United States Air Force, who is actually stationed with the Army right now. Sharp kid, nothing but the best, and nothing that I see better coming from him. And all the other folks that chimed in and watched today, thank you very much. We'll continue to do a live broadcast. We will not broadcast next week. I hope everyone has a phenomenal 4th of July. Remember, practice social distancing. Let's be smart. Let's be smart. Practice social distancing. Have a great time with your friends and family. And then we'll be back the following week with a special guest. I won't give it away, but we'll have a special guest on the next episode of The Extra Point. Once again, I am Roland Rainey, R2, CEO of R2 Sports Management, and you have been a part of The Extra Point.